Welcome to Chapter 4. This is Section 4.1, page 91 of your student journal. Writing equations in slope-intercept form. So in the last chapter we were looking at how they work, learning about what they are, and now we're going to be learning how to write them from scratch or by looking. So normally we skip the explorers, but I think these are really useful just to look at. So it says, before we can write something in slope-intercept form, which as a reminder is y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope, or m is rise over run, and b is the y-intercept, then we just have to figure it out first. We have to figure these things out before we can write anything that looks like this. We have to find m and b. So b is easy. B is just the y-intercept. So in this case, when x is 0, b is equal to -1. In this problem, b is equal to 2. Like, we just go wherever it's crossing the y-axis. The y-axis is this one, so we're just looking for whatever crosses that. So in this case, b is equal to 2, and now we're looking at the slope, or the rise over run, and it's easy. You can just go between any 2 points and just count how many to go up or down and how many to go left or right. So from here, we go up 1, 2, 3, 4. We go up 4. So that's the rise. And how many do we go over? Up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Over 1, 2. The way I'm getting that, from 0 to 2 is the difference between the x's is how much we're going left and right. In this case, right. And the difference between -1 all the way up to 3 is 4. So that's where I get that 4 from, and the x's is where I get the 2 from. So up 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 1, 2. If you're having a hard time counting, it's right here, 1, 2. So then this would be 2. So the m would be 2, and the b is equal to -1, and we would just replace m and b in this template right here. For this, let's see, we are going down by 1, 2, 3, 4, and we are going over 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just counting these ticks, guys. So m is down 4, which means -4, and to the right 4. So rise over run is -4, 4 is -1. So again, before we do this for this whole section, we have to find out what m and b are before we can write it like this. So I'll type them out real quick. If you don't understand it yet, don't really sweat it because we have a lot of practice problems to do. In this case, it will be y equals -2x minus 1. So again, we're replacing m with, oh sorry, m is a positive 2 in this problem. 2x minus 1, or plus -1, which is the same thing as y equals 2x minus 1. Over here, we will, oh, I should have just clicked. We'll have y equals -1x plus 2, because b is a positive number, so y equals -x plus 2. Those are the same thing. Okay. Again, don't sweat it if you don't get it quite yet. We have a lot of examples to go through. So actually, in this student journal, I'm not going to be going over that many examples. There's just too many for me to go over. So I'm just going to go over 2 or 3 in each section of these problem sets. So the slope is m, and the y-intercept is b. Okay, that goes for all of these. So I'm just going to go on for 1 through 3 right here. Y equals 0x. Don't forget the standard form is, sorry, the slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. 0x plus 9. Anything times 0 is just 0, so I have y equals 9. Y equals, slope is m, -1x plus b, which is 0. Adding 0 to anything does nothing to it, so this is y equals -x. And lastly, y equals 2x. Again, the slope is just replacing m. This is m. The y-intercept is replacing b. Plus -3 or y equals 2x minus 3. This is a fraction, don't really worry about that. It's just y equals 1/3 x plus 2. See that? There you go. Alright, if you have any questions, this is really simple. If you don't get this yet, make sure you ask your teacher because it's really unacceptable if you can't figure this out. The slope is m is the slope, the y-intercept is b, and you just essentially rewrite this. Moving on, write the equation of the line slope intercept form. This is easy because in all these problems they do give you the y-intercept. It's just wherever x is 0. So to write it out, I'll say b equals -1. The y coordinate when x is 0 is the y-intercept. This is -1. This is 0. This is +1. To find the slope now, we just gotta do rise over run. So this one will be 1, -1, 2, 3, 4, and to the right 1. So what does that look like? M equals -4 over 1, which equals -4. Y equals -4x minus 1. Once you find m and b, it's just like 1 through 6. So I'm going to help you find m and b. I'm not going to keep writing it though, because it's just this really simple form, y equals mx plus b. But I will help you find it. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1, 2. So m equals up 4 over 2. So m is equal to 2. And lastly, we have up 1, 2, and over 1, 2. So m is 2 up, 2 over. So m is just equal to 1. Okay, that's that. Moving on. If you get a fraction, that's totally cool too. I'm trying to figure out what might be confusing. Here, this one might be confusing. B is equal to -2. No, it's not. M is, you go up 1 and over 2. So m is equal to up 1 over 2. Okay, that was way simple. Okay. And, oh, here we go. Like I said, this one has a lot of problem sets, so that's why I'm just kind of blazing through them, just giving you a few examples of each. Write an equation of the line that passes through the given point. So again, we have to look at where x equals 0 to find the y-intercept. So this is our b, this is our b, and this is our b. You're just looking for where x is equal to 0. Whenever x is equal to 0, that is our y-intercept. Y-intercept, 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 and y-intercept. Those are all our b's. Now to find the slope, this is going to be a pain in the butt. Not too much of a pain in the butt, but it is, well, kind of a bit of a hassle. We're going to say x1, y1 to get the slope, x2, y2. So as a reminder, the formula for slope is rise is difference in y, y2 minus y1, difference means subtraction, and the difference in x, x2 minus x1. So I have y2 is 4 minus -4 over 8 minus 0. I understand that this is kind of tedious, guys, but again, my reminder to all students is if everyone else can pass Math 1, there's no reason you shouldn't be. And again, if it's tedious, that means it's not difficult, it's just kind of time consuming. So if you can't do something just because it's time consuming, that means you lack a little focus, and that's maybe something you need to improve on. So you have 4 minus -4 is positive 8. 8 divided by 8 is 1. So we got this right here. That's our m. So now we can say y equals mx, or 1x, plus b plus -4 which is x minus 4. All right, guys, I know that was a lot of work to do one problem, but again, it's difficult for me because I have to write with a pencil or with this mouse, which is kind of that's more time consuming than you using your pencil. It's not like precise, but in any case, find B, find M by doing x1, y1, x2, y2, and going from there. It's just subtraction. This is literally subtraction. The B is already there for you, and that's it. In order to, let's see, let's do number 17, because this one might be confusing because there's an 8 and a 0 and a 0 and an 8. So let's say x1, y1. Actually, I'm going to switch it up on you guys. No, that's going to confuse you. x1, y1, x2, y2. So B, first of all, is right here. B is this positive 8. So B is equal to 8. Whenever x is 0, that's your y-intercept. Now to find M, I say y2, which is 8, minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I have 8 over negative 8, which is negative 1. And now I can say y equals negative 1x plus 8, or y equals negative x plus 8. That's the answer for number 17. All right, and this is the last section. Sorry, this is the last section. This is the last word problem. This is the same thing. It just looks dressed up really differently. So before we actually get into this, I'm just going to rewrite these exactly to be the exact same as the last section. So we have ordered pair 0, negative 5, 4, negative 3. We have negative 5, 5. We have 0, 10. As a reminder, these are in function notation. And when you write function notation, this is the x. And then whatever you get on the other end is the y. So this is the x, this is the y. X, y, x, y. So again, now I've converted it to look just the same as these. It's just you have 2 points. You have 2 points. One is your y-intercept. Boom, there it is, your y-intercept. And then you have x1, y1, x2, y2. So again, there's some tedium to this, but just be flexible with your brain. Give it the practice it needs, because if you can't do something simple, then how can you do something difficult, right? So make sure you can nail down these simple things first that are not complicated. It just requires perseverance, guys. So make sure you get after it. If you have any questions on these sections, obviously ask your teacher, ask me, let me know, and we'll get your questions answered. But otherwise, it's not, for most of you, the difficulty is not in that it is actually difficult. It's just that you might get bored, which is just a different kind of difficulty. An electrician charges an initial fee of $50 and $109 after 4 hours of work. So another way to frame this is $190 is equal to his initial fee plus 4 hours multiplied by whatever rate he charges. It does not say how much he charges per hour, right? So we got to figure this out. Subtract that. Subtract that. We get 140 equals 4 times his rate. So divide both sides by 4 and you get 35 equals his rate. Okay, so now write a linear model that represents the total cost. So we could say cost equals the number of hours. We don't it just as a function of the number of hours. We don't know how many hours he's going to work, so we just call it h for hours. How much is he charging each hour? 35 times the number of hours plus his initial fee of $50. And then how much does the electrician charge per hour? Well, it's not 50. That's just his initial fee. It's $35. So how much does the electrician charge? $35. That's it, guys, for this section. If you found any confusion, make sure you just rewind, replay it. If that does not help, ask your teacher for clarification, or you can ask me for clarification.